now that we've created our lights, I do want to have those lights represent something. So we've already said a torch over here. And I've actually already messed around with some particles to create a sample torch, which you can do the same, but they're just little embers that are coming upwards and rotating and moving at different speeds. But I want to associate this light with the torch. And what I can do then is then turn that into a torch asset. I've already kind of made some stuff here already. But if we take this, I'm going to align this up here. Something like that. Okay, yeah, that's fine. And then we can also make this, so this is our fire particles. We're just lining it up with the light. I'm gonna make an empty game object called torch. Create empty. Bring that out of there. I'm gonna call this torch. I want to make a little object that I can move around the level that has a light attached and a particle, and then later on a audio torchies. Good tacos, but not a torch. Okay, so I have this. This is my grouping object. Underneath here, I'm going to make a few objects. So I'm gonna make an empty game object. I'm going to, I'll keep that right there for now. I'm gonna take one of my lights, this light right here, my point light 2. I'm also gonna bring this underneath this torch as well. So now I can just select the torch. Oh, so we actually need to pull our, hold on, our fire particles underneath there. So our torch, fire particles, and light. You can kind of see my machine bogging down. Okay, so if we select the torch at the top, I'm going to temporarily disable auto generate. If we disable the torch at the, or sorry, we have torch, right? This is empty. We have fire particles. We have our light. It's still bogging down a little bit. Oh man, there we go. Point light. And we have this empty game object that I made right underneath that. Oh, something's going on with my computer. Okay. I'm going to call this geometry. And this is where I'm going to put anything related to geometry on the torch. So you might think of a torch stick or a torch handle. And I'm going to just actually do that. I'm going to create a 3D object as a child of this. Scale this down. Torch handle. Awesome. And you know, maybe we don't want this to cast shadows, for example. So I'm going to go to cast shadows. Let's see here. Let's say off. And I'm going to apply this. Just you can make a new material and call it brown or something. Just something to represent this geometry that you just created. So this is my little torch. It's underneath geometry. Okay. The last thing that I want you to know is when you're creating objects like this, make sure that you remove the collider. We do not need a collider on the torch. It's so small, the player's never going to notice, but it is going to hit the processor when we're trying to do physics calculations. So I want to take that off. Double check, I don't really have any colliders on anything. Okay, so it doesn't need a collider, so it doesn't have one. So now if I select the torch and I move it around, you can put that, you can put it kind of close to the wall if you want, or you could angle it maybe, right? And then you'd have to change the particles to be in world space. But okay, so I'll do something like this. And I'm going to delete out these other lights because I have my torch over here. And maybe, you know what, I don't really like this color. I'm going to make that a little darker, a little more orange. Okay, I like the look of that. Intensity, range, maybe we give it a little bit more range. Cool. All right, so once I have this object, I'm going to turn this into a prefab. I already have a torch. Let's replace this. You can actually drag a prefab on top of another prefab if it has the same name. Place it. Okay, cool. This is my new torch. Excuse me. So I'm going to duplicate my prefab around a few times, get it back to where it was before. Going to re-enable my auto-generate. And you can actually see the scaling issue that I was mentioning before. That's gonna bake out for a few seconds. It'll be good enough, at least in play mode. Oh, this little spot right there. Okay, so that's fine for demo purposes. I'm going to hit play. You'll see now I have my lights, I have my little particles. You know, you could maybe in script add some little flickering to the light if you want to be fancy. But later on, we're going to add some audio to that as well. And then you'll have a complete little asset that you can drag around your scene. You could have a little fire. You could have like a magical lantern or something. You know, you can be creative with it if you want. But this gets the job done. It fits my setting, my narrative, and so forth. And it gives me the lighting I want.